happening, everyone? Welcome back to the JR Wisdom channel. I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in once again, new and old subscribers. And if you're just now clicking on my video, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button along with the bell. That way you receive all the notifications for all my future videos. So, this video I'm doing right now is I'm basically following up a video I previously did in reference to when a man can't handle his emotions. Things that tend to happen, and tragedy, follows. Based upon the last video, someone mentioned that I should just speak on that men should stop killing kids. Instead of me, which what I was trying to do was address the root cause of it, which it was this man in particular not being able to deal with his emotions or control himself or control his emotions in the nature of the divorce. Now, this topic that I'm covering now is similar to that in the aspect of emotions, but it's also to do with the mothers who are choosing these men and deciding to bring these men around their children, even though they are aware of these men who have certain emotional issues, certain mental issues, and even a criminal record and criminal history and a past of abuse and things like that. So these choices, and especially with the mothers being in these cases, I believe that they are complicit in the tragedies that happen in these, most definitely. So in both of these cases that I'm going to discuss, the men are obviously mentally and emotionally unstable, and they definitely aren't equipped to deal with children, which is another thing that a lot of you ladies, whenever you're thinking about bringing men around your children, this is what you need to be aware of at all times, and find out this man's background and what he's about, and even if there's a hint of potential of him going off the deep end, this is something that you need to find out before it's too late. So this can be an issue, especially obviously when the children aren't, as I said, they don't belong to this man. And even it's not just exclusive to that. It can happen to even men who it is their children. They'll just go crazy and stuff like that and do all these ridiculous things that are just completely uncalled for. So in both these instances, both men fit the bill of what I'm discussing. Both of these men obviously are unemployed in these cases, which I'm going to discuss as well. So the first story I want to talk about is the story of this young girl named Alexis Stubbs. She was 12 years old. This is out of Chicago. This happened a few days ago. And the man, whose name is John Singleton, he was 31 years old. He was dating the mother. He was previously dating the mother back in 2014, and he got into a domestic issue and he strangled her. He's not the father of Alexis Stubbs, but he strangles Alexis's mother, and he ends up getting arrested and convicted of assault. And he was paroled back in April of this year. So that happened in 2014, but he was paroled in April of this year. So the mother allows him to move back in with them in June, after he had already strangled her and things like that. So she decided to keep this relationship going with this man once he gets out of jail. So obviously, as part of his parole, I guess he put down her address as where he was going to be staying at, because obviously you had to have a place to stay. So this past Sunday went by, and I guess they obviously were having issues, She left with her daughter because they was arguing over cigarettes and stuff like that. And he this whole thing about cigarettes, them arguing over cigarettes, it spilled over into his living situation, because I guess she said she couldn't take it anymore. She was going to kick him out. So she left with her daughter to go get cigarettes and called him and told him to leave while she was gone. So they're arguing. I guess he got upset about this because he didn't know where he's going to stay at. So she returns back, and they get some cigarettes for the neighbor. Alexis goes to take the cigarettes to the neighbor, and on her way back to the car with her mom, was that this guy, John Singleton, comes out, grabs Alexis, this 12-year-old, by her hair, slams her on the ground, pulls out a hammer, picks her up, drags her into the apartment building, and that's when Alexis' mother calls the police. So at this point, he's calling the mother, saying that he's going to harm the girl, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. So he keeps calling her, and then on one of the voicemails, you can hear Alexis saying on the voicemail that went through, "Daddy, please stop, don't do this," or whatever, even though this is her stepfather, So once the police arrived on the scene, you could see Alexis crawling out of the apartment building, bleeding. She was covered in blood and everything, and she died shortly after that at the hospital. She was stabbed 11 times, and she was bashed repeatedly with this hammer. He obviously fled the scene, and he was found, he sent a few text messages when he fled the scene to the mother saying, "See what you made me do. I hope Child Protective Services takes her from you, if only she survives what I done to her." And he said, "You made me kill my only child. Believe it or not, you're going to pay for this." He sends her these text messages after he did what he did to the mother. So he was found later hiding in a porta-john, a portable toilet. They take him, they question him. I guess he admits to doing it, and he's arrested, booked, and charged for this. So obviously, with this issue, we see a few issues. Is after this whole situation, obviously, whether she pressed charges or not, she know this man was violent. This man probably has been violent to the little girl in the past. Probably has done some stuff to the little girl, and probably has been violent since he came home. And probably has a bunch of pent up hate and resentment because he had to spend all this time in jail because of what happened. So her knowing this, even though she probably couldn't see, him doing that right at that point, at some point or another, she should have gotten rid of this guy, not even let him back in the house in the first place. So at what point is she complicit even though this guy did it, what point is she complicit in the demise of her daughter? With this man who basically shouldn't have even been around her or her daughter. And which is something else. So imagine if the father is Alexis' father is somewhere, her real father, or if he's not in her life, whatever have you. Imagine how he's feeling. Let's say he might not even want her, but let's say if he wasn't allowed to see her or whatever. Now he finds out that his daughter is dead. But that's a whole different story. So I'll go get into the next story, which is about this guy named, out of Wisconsin, named Tamio Shipman-Allen. This happened on June the 4th. He was dating this girl, and he's another one just like this other guy. He's not working. He stays at home, and he babysits his girlfriend's kids, right? She has a 14-month-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. A 14-month-old daughter's name is Tamiya. So how long has this guy, and obviously this isn't his kid, how long has this guy been involved in this 14-month-old's life? How long? Because the baby is a brand new baby. Might as well say he's a 1-year-old. She's a 1-year-old. How long has this guy been involved in the child's life? So that's one issue. And she's already allowing this man to keep her kids while she's at work, and he's probably sitting at home playing video games, smoking weed, doing whatever else. So on June the 4th, like I said, the mother goes to work. And around noon that day, she's getting several phone calls from this guy, Tamio Shipman-Allen. And he's calling her, and she finally picks up, and he's saying that the little girl, the 1-year-old, is having, he thinks she's having seizures. So obviously she rushes home. She comes home to check to see what's up with her daughter, and he won't let her in the house. And he's basically telling her that, you don't want to come in here. You don't want to see this. So she calls the police. The police show up. The 1-year-old girl, or 14-month-old girl, was pronounced dead at the scene. and the boy was beat up severely. The 3-year-old boy was beat up severely and, you know, abused and things like that. He was rushed to the hospital. So this Tamio character, Shipman-Allen, this guy, he was questioned, and he admitted to throwing the 14-month-old girl on the ground and stomping on her abdomen. And he admitted to beating up the little boy, slapping him around, beating him with a belt, and all this other stuff. And based upon them interviewing the neighbors, this isn't the first time, because the neighbors say whenever the woman goes to work, they can hear this man beating on these kids, hear the babies crying and all kind of stuff. And said that, and it sounds like, you know, kids are being slammed on the floor, which also leads me to, you know, even though people try to stay out of their business, you hear stuff going on like that, why they didn't call the police. That's another thing. So, the thing about it, they've only been living there for a month in this apartment. They said one day they heard the mother come home and say, you know, what the hell did you do to my kids? So she already knew that this was a violent dude and this dude was abusing the kids, but she still was allowing him to keep the kids, even though these weren't his kids, while she has to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, basically, this instance, she knew the type of man that she was dealing with. She knew he wasn't working. He was staying at home. This wasn't either one of these kids' father. So who is complicit in this at the end of the day, even though he did do this horrible act as far as a man, but this man is, you know, emotionally, mentally unstable. And for you to do this to a child, you know, you don't even know, you can't even deal with children at that point where I'm assuming the baby's probably crying or doing something for you to do that. I don't know what would upset you to that point to actually do that, other than this baby's probably crying and you don't know how to deal with a baby. So this is how you treat a 14-month-old. You know what I'm saying? So, and I believe this guy is 21 years old. So the whole responsibility, who's complicit, same thing y'all probably heard of with Adrian Peterson and his son. His son was killed because the baby's mother was dating this guy who was violent and ends up, you know, killing the kid. So these real fathers, when they, you know, hear about this and they lose a child, it's just like devastating. So I was just wanting to cover this just to bring awareness, and for any of you ladies who are just bringing any and every kind of man around your child, or if you are dealing with a man and you don't know what's going on when you're leaving this man with these kids, yo, please do your research. Please talk to your kids and be aware that you got some characters out here not playing with a full deck, especially when you know these men have violent past, emotionally unstable, mentally unstable, but you still allow it to go on just because you're lonely or out of convenience, or you need a babysitter. It just doesn't make sense. So that's all I have to say about that. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this video to anyone that'll be of benefit. Make sure you guys add me on social media. Check me out on Amazon. Throw a couple coins in the well of wisdom. Feel free to email me if you have any questions or any topics you'd like me to speak on. And remember, anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. I'll catch you guys on the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.